I would be say it's more around the heart area because what I do believe is there are also brain cells living inside of the heart or around it.
Okay.
What's
But
not
most of the brain cells, are they in the heart?
no, that would be in the brain, but
Oh, okay.
it's like a communication going on.
Sure. But then if
So I
most of the
think
brain cells are in the brain,
I
wouldn't you exist mostly
I
there?
think it's more the intuition. The soul maybe become
Uh-huh.
like it's what's telling you the intuition,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's coming from the heart more than from the brain.
yeah. Okay.
We think more as the brain, and we try to understand things with our brains, but
Uh-huh. And
it
and
has to
and
become more from the heart.
and you asked me what my opinion was. Why'd you use the word opinion? Because scientists have studied this.
Yeah, but it's like the scientists. What you mostly see is what you see in mainstream is also funded or bought or not as well published, maybe in
So
these
there's
big magazines as.
so is it possible that there's an anti-soul exist in the heart conspiracy?
I think it's a thing we don't hardly can grasp,
Uh-huh.
and we now start slowly to understand a little bit more about these uh,
Yeah, but to be
scientists.
honest, if neuroscientists and psychologists, if I showed you all the books that I have and all the experiments and that showed how if you change this in the brain, then that changes about the personality, or how in rats they found this chemical that's associated with this thing, and how the heart is actually, if I showed you literature for the heart and it said that that's actually pumps blood to the other regions of your brain,
Yeah, sure.
to the other regions of your body, I mean, and that the Egyptians who thought that the heart was where the soul was and thought the brain was nothing, just that it cooled down the blood that goes to the heart, that actually they were wrong about that, and that actually the brain, which is 3% of your body, but uses 20% of the energy, and it uses that to do something, right? So if your
Yeah.
intuition is here in your heart, what the hell is the brain doing? 20% of the energy consumed. If I told you all that stuff and I showed you
But
experiments, you would still not want to hear it, right? You would still say, no, 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 but my soul, my spirit is
oh
here,
no,
right?
it's more like I very critical about these scientists, and I truly do believe that we're only at the beginning at a deeper understanding
Yeah,
in
that's
how
what I thought, yeah.
everything working,
Yeah.
and yeah, it would change perception of how do we live in this world, maybe,
What would?
and like
Continuing to believe that we exist in our hearts probably wouldn't change anything, because most people have believed that and have believed that for thousands of years. But thinking that we might be brain mechanisms, that would, yeah, fundamentally change our perception of self. Yeah.
I think it's also more everything is more like really an energy,
Yeah, of course.
and
Yeah.
that influences
Yeah.
everything.
And so you would never want to be reduced to just neurons talking to each other. You are more of a magical spirit, soul, or energy, right?
I would, I
Yeah.
think we're all in that sense are light beings.
Yeah, light beings. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Thank you,
Yeah.
Terry.
Okay. Welcome.
Um, so then I said something like, but what are you? What is this? Oh, I said these human social instincts. Where do they exist? Where does this human social activity in an individual happen?
Yeah.
Between us, it's happening here in this ether, in the sound waves. But for individually, and she hesitates. She says she kind of doesn't know, and then she goes, "Well, I guess we're brains, aren't we?" And I go, "Do you think so?" And she goes, I mean, isn't that true? I mean, we're brains, aren't we? And I go, oh, and do other people think that? And she goes, no, I guess other people think that we're like chakras or that our essence is somewhere else. And I fell in love. Absolutely. I mean, not literally, because, I spoke to her about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But, and I was already on my way. I was coming from Poland. So on my way down to Spain to spend the winter in Spain. I was stupid. I thought that all of Spain was warm in the winter. So, but I had a friend who had talked to me about Ibiza. So anyway, I go to Madrid, see my cousin, drop off my dad. He takes his flight back. Okay, but basically when I met her, go back when I met her. So she says that she's from Ibiza. That she's about to head back to Ibiza. Hold on. First of all, she was beautiful. Second of all, she had bangs. Third of all, this was shaved on the side. Love that. Fourth of all, she knew that we were brains. Fifth of all, she lives in a camper. Sixth of all, she's from the island that I'm about to go to right now. Seventh of all, she had the moral instinct to come check on me and to see whether I needed help.
Once you were here.
No, when we were in Amsterdam,
yeah,
right? I've only seen her once in my life.
Yeah.
So basically, I was like, okay, well, so I went to Valencia, that was warm, and I was like, look, the universe, the spirits I don't really believe in, are clearly sending me to Ibiza.
Coincidence doesn't exist.
Look, I interpreted it two ways at the same time. One, I say, look, it's just kind of a coincidence, and also I'm just, being silly. And then two, I need to find her because that's what God wants. So anyway,
so when you were opening up for these kind of adventures, when I started to find myself, really opportunities came to me. Like Like what you are.
You have to stay open. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think then is when these things come to you as well.
Yeah, you don't speak French by any chance, do you?
French?
Yeah.
No.
Last time I was here, I met a French guy, and we've been traveling around together. But he's really great, and you guys would really get along, though. So maybe you guys still should meet there.
It would be.
I'll translate.
Yeah,
Well, why don't you take my number, and then you can text me when you're in the area.
Sure.
So can I use the audio from this conversation in my interview series?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So let him smell you first before you touch him too much.
Didn't feel ready.
Cool. And so
I was curious, where do you use these interviews for?
you want to see one of them?
Yeah, let's quick peek.
Yeah, quick peek.
You publish them on YouTube or something?
Yeah. I mean, they only get like 10 views. So don't worry about people hearing your voice too much.
Sometimes it takes time before it...
yeah, I'm not worried about it. I mean, it's really, I'm just working on the ideas. I have somewhere to put them. If it's after my death that it's discovered, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
If I were trying to get like followers and marketing for that and trying to make content that they would like, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I wouldn't be doing what I love. All right, here's David. So here's what I want to ask. What is the brain? Let me have 4 minutes of your time to show you this. All right, is that okay? Really? Dutch people are supposed to be honest.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
all right.
I'm not in a rush.
I'm not a neuroscientist.
Huh?
I'm not in a rush.
Good, okay. Because this is really interesting, because he's kind of talking about the brain and the self as being two different things.
It's going to send signals to the muscles for the biking motion. Yeah. Responsive, so it should just stop. Okay.
See, it says it tells you to stop.
It's all the same. I'm saying me and brain, it's all the same. Ah, thank you. Very good. Okay.
Anyway, then I asked him about cognitive biases, and he really impresses me, because he even knows some cognitive biases, which are errors that the brain systematically makes. And I think it's worth knowing a couple hundred of them to catch them when you make them.
But it's also, you really got to know how your brain works.
That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
Different hormones.
Yeah, but not only hormones, just the interpretive mechanisms themselves, actually.
Yeah, that too. But
and the hormones.
For example, like if you have one, you have also the opposite. And it's working together.
Yes! And I was just making a video about the competition in the brain and how important it is. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you know these things, you can overcome these hurdles.
Well, you are actually mechanisms in the brain. So it's not like there's a relationship between you and the brain where you can just easily overcome it.
No, it's the hormones, how it works.
Yeah,
like if you go to a fitness, you
at
first don't want to because...
Yes, and it's all about practice. By practicing those and building those networks of making it a habit.
Well.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need to fight this because it's just a natural thing that comes now in my brain.
Yeah,
and then you can just do it.
Absolutely.
And then you feel better afterwards.
Absolutely. And then you learn from that good feeling afterwards, and that reinforces the behavior.
It's a training, of course, yeah.
So, all right.
Sonia was nice enough to see whether I needed help with my wheels.
Oh, that's Sonia.
So do you have an answer?
What is it to be a human being?
Sure, yeah.
Biologically speaking.
If you like.
No.
Okay, then tell me something else.
I don't know. We are just beings and we are social. I think that's very defining, right?
What?
Don't pat or back. Niet aan.
Ah, okay. And it's Dutch or is German? Dutch?
It's Dutch.
Okay.
It's not pet.
Very cool. Don't pet. That's great. I love her style.
Let me ask you this. What's the brain?
Oh, that's what I asked. Okay.
Yeah.
Brain is the engine of our bodies.
A lot of people say that the brain is the engine.
Yeah. We are just, I don't know, to be honest. Our brain is deciding it's us.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
No?
I think so.
I think it's us.
Yeah. But does everybody think that?
No.
The actions that you do is like, that's what you...
but also your interpretive mechanisms. Not only the output, but what the brain does with the input. Your intuition, things like that, which is called sometimes System 1 and System 2. The mental processes that give quick snap judgments, that's called System 1 sometimes, and then the a little bit more nuanced processes called System 2. And yeah, so that intuition, those sort of automatic rules or instincts that we evolved to have, those ways we evolved to process things, but it's not always reliable, right? Like you have the in-group, out-group bias, right? Where your intuition sees someone, where you see someone who doesn't belong to your group, your intuition's going to say, "Ooh, watch out for that person." You see someone who belongs to your in-group, the intuition's going to say, "Okay, that person's probably chill, and even if they do something, there's probably a good explanation for it," you know?
Yeah,
So, all right, it was really cool talking to you. I got to head off to the laundromat, but
Great.
send me a message and we'll try to get
I
together.
will do it tomorrow, and I'll see if you're close to the beach in the south west, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.